Hey, folks, we are live. I'm almost ready here to really kick this thing off. I'm pulling up my show notes and all that junk. So I was gonna really kick this thing off. I'm pulling up my show notes and all that junk. So
That was from me.
Oh, I was gonna say, what is going
Sorry.
on?
Yeah, that's from where I've got YouTube up so I could comment. I had muted it, and it was.
It's like,
it was
caller, could you please turn down your radio?
Exactly. Long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah. All right.
Call me Megatroll.
Let's officially kick this thing off. So, hello, folks. Welcome to the first and maybe only episode of Just Another Fanboy Live. I'm your host. My name's Steven. And why might this be the only live episode? Well, I'll explain. First, let me introduce my guest. You probably know him, but he's my partner in hosting over there at the Superman Super Show. Ladies and gentlemen, 1,000 miles to my right, Mr. Ed Moore. How's it going, Ed?
Pretty good, sir. Howdy, folks. Everybody out there in listener land.
How's what you been up to lately? Anything interesting going on?
Nope. I had a crappy night's sleep last night on top of a doctor's appointment, so I just called off from work today to go to my doctor and come home and hit the sack and see if I could catch up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, tell you what, man, you don't really it's amazing how when, like when I was in my 20s, I could go with 3 hours of sleep in 3 days and be fine.
Yeah.
But good Lord, I miss more than they say, what is it, 7 to 8 to 10 hours? It's like if I get 7 hours, it's not enough. If I get 10, it's too much.
Too much. Yeah.
Can't find that little that happy piece in the middle.
Yep, I feel you. Yeah, I remember those days of counting how many hours it had been since I'd slept. I was excited that I made 48. Can I go over 48? And now I'm like, no, I can't even count that high without sleep. So there's
right.
No chance.
Now it's like if you want to stay up like on New Year's Eve, it's like, well, I got to take a nap during the day so I can stay up for a few extra hours.
It's like a colonoscopy, man. You got to prep for it.
Yeah. Well, guess what? I hadn't been recording over on my Audacity. So I'm gonna have to do this intro one more time.
Okay. Yeah, I've been recording, but it only gets mine anyway. So
yeah,
go for it, man.
All right, hey folks, welcome to the first and maybe only episode of Just Another Fanboy Live. I'm your host. My name is Steven. Why might this be the only episode of Just Another Fanboy Live? I am going to explain that to you here in just a moment. But first, let me introduce the guest that I have with me here today. He's my partner in hosting over there at the Superman Super Show. Ladies and gentlemen, 1,000 miles to my right, Mr. Ed Moore. It's over there.
Howdy, folks. Glad to be here. Thank you. Long-time listener, first-time caller, all that stuff.
I got this weird thing going on here because I think when we talked, when we've been talking about you coming on to Just Another Fanboy, we hadn't decided on what we were going to talk about, right? We just we'll just see where the night takes us. We'll just start talking and I that's up until probably about 9 a.m. That had been the plan. But then I remembered that earlier in the life of Just Another Fanboy, as far as the second round, the round that we're doing right now, I'm gonna do a little screen share in there so you can see what we might get going on here in a second. But I used to do these live shows like November of 2020 through January of 2021. It's like every week or something I would have a guest on. I had like couple of the guys from Half Hour Wasted. I talked to Michael Kill, and I would do those live, and then eventually I made audio episodes out of them, and they're part of the Just Another Fanboy feed. And then the live videos are over there on YouTube. You can find them on the YouTube channel, which if you're watching this on YouTube, you're already on the channel. But one of the things I had done with a few of those guests, not many, to kind of pad the episode out a bit, I had created this little thing I called Steven's Game, and had them play. And for example, like when I had Brad Milo on from Half Hour Wasted, he was on, and we talked about the second season of The Mandalorian. And we did that for like an hour, and then we went into the game, and it was basically all Star Wars stuff, Star Wars trivia, that kind of thing. So that's it. That's what I'm going to do here with you. It's not going to be Star Wars.
Okay.
But we're going to play a little thing called Steven's Game. And because as of today, the day that we are streaming live, you and I are actually celebrating a little anniversary. The podcast we do together, the Superman Super Show, it turned 1 year old today.
Yep.
And so what I thought I would do is create this thing that I call Steven's Game, and make it all about Golden Age Superman, and primarily the stuff that we've read. Nothing that we haven't done yet. So that's what we're gonna do right now.
Now we're going to see how bad my memory is.
See, that's what I think is going to be fun about it. See, now I'm not gonna be playing the game with you. I'm like the host. So ultimately, you are just competing against yourself.
Right.
Really.
Okay. Gotcha.
The game consists of 3 rounds. Each round is worth a number of points, and by the end of the game, you have the potential to earn 100 points.
Okay.
And when I had done this previously, I think I did it first with Frank A. Rincon from Half Hour Wasted, and then when I had Brad Milo on, we did it as well. And so they ended up kind of, how did Frank do? I want to get a better score than Frank, even though Frank's was all tailored to The Simpsons and Brad's was all tailored to Star Wars. So, are you ready to give this game a try?
Let's go.
All right, we're going to start with round 1. I'm calling it Superman Super Trivia. So I'm going to give you 5. We're going to go through 5 Golden Age Superman trivia questions. Each question is worth 5 points. So during round 1, you have the potential to earn 25 points. They are going to be multiple choice, so makes it a little bit easier on you.
Okay.
And all right, let's do this. Here we go. Question number 1. What was Jimmy Olsen's first job at the Daily Planet? Was it A, the janitor, B, the office boy, C, the photographer, or D, foreign correspondent?
Let's go with B, office boy.
B, office boy. That is correct. And actually, before we go any further, had to find a pin because I want to make sure I
tally
up your score. All right.
Hey,
question number 2.
You're talking about anniversaries. There's another anniversary today.
Okay.
Action number 1 came out.
That's right.
There's a couple years ago, but
because that was kind of the point when we, you're the one that came up with the idea when we were talking about doing the Superman Super Show. I was ready to start it I don't know what, almost a month earlier, and you said, "Well, wait a minute,
Almost. Yeah.
isn't there anniversary coming up here in April? And why don't we kick off episode 1 on that anniversary?" Now, since then, I've learned that anniversary date. What is today? Is it the 18th?
16
April 8th
or 18.
Yeah, April 18th. That's kind of a hotly contested.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, you ready for question number 2?
Let's go.
What was the original name of the Daily
Okay.
Planet? Was it the Daily Star? B, the Daily Mail? C, the Daily Sun? Or D, the Daily Rios?
Peter, are you out there? Help. Let's go with the A, the Daily Star.
It is A, the Daily Star.
Right.
By the way, if you haven't picked up on it yet, another tip for you is that D is always going to be a joke answer.
And Parton picked the Daily Rios, by the way, so he
would
have missed that one. So
fun. See, because I'm sharing the this presentation, I can't see the comments right now, so I won't be able to see them until we're done with the game. All right, question number 3. The co-creator and original artist of Superman, Joe Shuster, modeled the Metropolis skyline after what city? Is it A, Montreal, B, Toronto, C, Quebec, or D, a combination of all 3?
I think I'll go with B, Toronto.
And you are correct. B, Toronto.
All right.
So far, you got 3 out of 3.
No doubt.
Question number 4. The Ultrahumanite has his brain transplanted into the body of which actress? Is it A, Dolores Claiborne, B, Dolores Fuller, C, Dolores Winters, or D, Bette Midler?
Well, if it was Bette Midler, that would explain quite a bit about her, but I don't think it was Bette Midler. Let's go with C, Dolores Winters.
C, Dolores Winters. Good job so far.
I'm kind of surprised myself. I was hoping that you would go with other first names because I remembered her first name was Dolores.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
that's why I did that.
It's not Kathy. It's not Eustace. It's okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to make it too easy for you. All right, here's the final question in round 1. What is the name of the Daily Star's rival newspaper? Is it A, the Morning Edition, B, the Morning Star, C, the Morning Pictorial, or D, Good Morning America?
Let's go with B, the Morning Star.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The Pictorial. Boo.
So for round 1, you got 20 out of the 25 points.
All right.
Okay, round 2. This is something I'm calling Action Comics or Superman. This one's going to be pretty easy because really it's a 50-50 type of thing here. I'm going to show you 5 scenes from that I randomly chose from the various Golden Age Superman comics that we have read in our first year. Your job then is going to have to determine, did it come out of Action Comics or did it come out of Superman? Now, again, this is going to be kind of a 50-50 thing, really. And I'm actually not only going to show you the scene, I'm also going to give you the title of the story.
Ooh, okay.
Each one of these are also 5 points each. So for round 2, you, like round 1, you have the potential to earn 25 points. Ready? Okay. Here we go.
Yep.
Carnahan's Heir. Is this from Action Comics or from Superman?
Let's go. Let's go Action Comics.
Action Comics number 24.
Right.
Do you remember this one at all?
I don't remember the title, but I do remember the scene.
The millionaire that was dying and asked Superman to mentor his son, who was a drunkard and a gambler.
Yep.
That's a pretty good one. All right, so that's 5 points so far.
Well, that's fairly recent, too.
Yeah. Luther's Incense Menace. Is this an Action Comic story or a Superman story?
I'll go Action Comics.
Oh, this comes out of Superman number 5.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the one where Luther put like some kind of addictive controlling substance in this incense.
Right, yeah.
So Clark would go and interview people and what smells similar than all the other places I've been. All right, next one. Wanted, Superman. Is this from Action Comics or from Superman?
I'll go Superman.
This is Action Comics number 9.
Okay. My 50-50 is not working.
Do you remember this story, though? Very early on, Superman had basically pissed off the government.
Oh,
so
yes.
He became like one of America's most wanted. And then this policeman, detective from another city, came in to capture him.
Right, yes, okay.
All right. Superman champions universal peace. Is this an Action Comics or a Superman comic?
Let's go Superman.
Superman issue number 2. I don't quite remember this one. I think this is the one with the guys who were selling weapons. That's about all I can remember. I don't remember this one all that well.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not bringing anything to mind for me either.
Okay, so that was 5 points. All right, last one for this round. The Economic Enemy. Is this from Action Comics or from Superman?
Action Comics.
Superman number 4.
Hey.
This one,
2 for 5.
I said it was going to be easy because it was just a 50-50, but I don't know that I would have. I would have been guessing on all 5 of those as well. I wouldn't have known. The Luther one, maybe, because I feel like most of the Luther stories came out of Superman, but I know some of them were in Action Comics as well. All right, so that takes us to our third and final round, which I'm calling Pick That Quip. So
Okay.
this is my favorite. This is going to be my favorite one. So as we both know, Superman in the Golden Age can be rather quippy. And so what I've done is I've picked 5 panels, one panel from 5 different stories, basically, in which Superman is quipping. But I've taken the text out of the word balloon.
Oh, no.
Now, I've made this, I haven't made this impossible for you. So here's what I'm going to do. Your job will be to determine what he's saying, what his quip is. But I'm going to tell you which story it came out of. I'm going to tell you which issue that story came out of. I'm going to tell you which episode we talked about that story. I'm going to give you the episode description that's out there on the internet for the episode. I'm going to give you a little backstory so you can get some context as far as why he's doing what he's doing in the panel. But I'm also going to make this multiple choice. I'm going to give you 4 quips to choose from for each panel, and you have to choose the one.
Okay.
Each one of these is worth 10 points. So this is the big round. You can earn up to 50 points in this round.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Panel number 1. This panel comes from the story in Action Comics number 21. And the story was Superman and the Atomic Disintegrator. We talked about this story in episode number 30 back on November 28th, 2022. And I should mention that the dates are the dates that the episode was released, not the date that we recorded the episode. So here is the episode description that I had put out there when I posted the episode. A scientist invents a powerful weapon in his apartment. The Ultrahumanite uses a cat to steal the weapon, and Superman fights a pair of robots. So the backstory here to this panel is that Superman is being blackmailed by the Ultrahumanite, and he is sent into town to steal the crown jewels. And he's doing this in exchange for the man who invented the atomic disintegrator, who Ultra has kidnapped.
Okay.
So Superman heads into town, and then the Ultrahumanite narcs him out to the cops. What we got going on here is Superman is hanging from a window ledge as the cops open fire, shooting him in the back. So pick the quip. Is Superman saying, "The mosquitoes sure are aggressive around here"? "Thanks, fellas. I've been needing a good back massage." "I wish you'd stop shooting bullets at me. I'm ticklish." Or, "I'm going to come down there and kill every single one of you"?
Let's go with "Thanks, fellas. I've been needing a good back massage."
Incorrect. "I wish you'd stop shooting bullets at me. I'm ticklish." All right. Here's panel number 2. This comes from the story The Challenge of Luthor from Superman issue number 4. We talked about this story on episode number 33 on December 19th of 2022. And here is the episode description. Luthor challenges Superman to 3 contests, one of speed, one of strength, and one of resistance to injury. But does Luthor have an ulterior motive? The backstory here is that Luthor and his minions have kidnapped Professor Martinson for reasons I actually don't remember. But to get Professor Martinson back, Superman accepts a challenge from Luthor to compete in various tests to see which is better, Luthor's brain or Superman's brawn. Superman wins each of the contests, and as the text in the panel states, seizing Martinson, Superman leaps back toward the city. And then as you can see, Martinson, who is tucked under Superman's arm, declares, "I must be dreaming." So pick the quip. What is Superman saying? "With your eyes wide open? Do you want me to pinch you? Tell the Sandman I said hi." Or, "I'm going to kill you"?
Do you want me to pinch you?
Oh, with your eyes wide open.
Okay.
Such a dumb one. It's so stupid. All right. Panel number 3. I'm sure you recognize this one.
Oh yeah.
This panel comes from the story The Campaign Against the Planet from Superman issue number 5. We talked about this on episode number 42 from February 20th of this year. And here's the episode description. It's newspaper against newspaper as war breaks out in Metropolis. Can Superman protect the Daily Planet from an evil politician turned media mogul? The backstory here is that gangsters have just snatched Lois Lane, and tossing her in their car, they speed away. Superman then leaps forward and grabs hold of the bottom of the car, riding along underneath. And as the text in the panel states, as the auto climbs a curb at the end of its journey, Superman's head bumps against the curb, smashing it. So, pick the quip. Is Superman saying, just a good scalp massage? Just doing my part to fix potholes? I've always been hard-headed? Or, I'm going to kill this road?
How about just a good scalp massage?
Yes.
Right.
10 points. All right, panel number 4. This panel comes from Action Comics number 27. The story is Brentwood Home for Wayward Youth.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this on episode 47, just back on March 27th. And here's the episode description. Lois and Clark investigate the Brentwood Home for Wayward Youth. Lois is thrown in a cell, and Superman leaves a dog in a tree. The backstory here is that Superman has just entered the grounds of the Brentwood Home for Wayward Youth when the guard dog, bonus points, do you remember the guard dog's name?
Rufus.
Black Satan leaps upon his back. And as the text in the panel states, ferociously the hound bites at Superman, but to its puzzlement, its sharp fangs leave no impression upon the Man of Steel's super tough skin. So, pick the quip. Is Superman saying, you need a ticket for this ride? Now, don't get discouraged. Don't break your teeth. Or, I'm going to kill this dog.
Let's try. Now, don't get discouraged.
Oh, correct.
All right.
All right, last one. This is for all the bacon.
Now, this was the one where they had all the stuff in the basement?
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, I could have done all 5 quips just from that one story.
Wow. Yeah, that was...
It was a pretty crazy one. All right, this panel comes from Action Comics number 19. The story was The Superman and the Purple Plague. We talked about this on episode number 26 back in October 10th, 2022, and here is the episode description. People in Metropolis turn purple and then die. What or who could be behind the purple plague, and how can Superman put a stop to it? So the backstory here is that a scientist named Travers has created an antidote for the purple plague, but then he's kidnapped. Superman is attacked while trying to rescue Travers, and as the text in the panel states, wading into the terrified muscle man, Superman flings them about as if they were bowling pins. So, pick the quip. Is Superman saying, oh, they fly through the air with the greatest of ease? Round and round they go, where they stop nobody knows. Hang on, boys, I'm taking you for a ride. Or, I'm going to kill all 3 of you.
Hang on, boys, I'm taking you for a ride.
Oh, that is incorrect. Oh, they fly through the air with the greatest of ease.
Boo.
So that's it. That's the game. Let's see. You
50
earned
points.
50 points.
50 out of 100.
You got a 50%, brother.
Yep.
All right, let me stop sharing. That was fun.
It shows you I just read them and move on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I would have done fine in the trivia round, but the rest of them, I don't know that I would have done that great. Especially the quip round. I mean, some of those aren't easy, but it was fun.
Yep.
I do have one other thing that I was going to do. If you're interested.
Okay.
I subscribe to a news feed. Do you remember those? Where you could you basically any type of news website, you add it to the feed, and then it gives you the news stories. And
right.
One of them that I subscribe to is from one particular segment of the Huffington Post that only puts weird news.
Okay.
And so I looked through some headlines over the last couple of months, and I picked out the top 3 weird news stories of the last couple of months.
Okay.
Now, one thing I neglected to say at the very beginning of this is that I had, for about a year now, I've been kind of thinking about how I wanted to, over on Stephen or Else on that YouTube channel, once a month maybe do like a live stream on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, have a guest on, and I've just never done anything with it. So this episode kind of is a test for that. Some stuff that maybe I thinking about doing. Chris Parton in the comments there has said that he's got to up his PowerPoint game.
Well, Chris, if you ever get back to podcasting, dog, you need to brush up there and be ready for it.
That's podcasting, All right, I'm gonna pull these notes up here on my screen. Headline number 3. So this is the top 3. Cooked bats seized by German officials near Belgian border. So I'm gonna. These stories are very short. I'm gonna read each of these stories, and after each one, we'll kind of discuss, and then you can tell me after we go through the 3 if you agree in my order.
Okay.
So this comes out of Berlin. German officials seized cooked bats. And nearly a ton of unrefrigerated fish after police stopped a van that had entered the country from Belgium. Federal police said a patrol stopped the vehicle at a highway exit on the edge of the border city of Aachen. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And found the bats under the fish. A vet from the local Consumer Protection Office was sent to the scene and ordered the bats and fish confiscated. Police seized the van, which was uninsured. The 31-year-old driver, an Ivorian citizen, faced a criminal complaint for traffic offenses and unauthorized entry because he entered the country without papers or a driver's license, police said in a statement. He also faces administrative proceedings for violations of food hygiene rules, and local authorities were looking into whether he violated conservation laws regarding the bats. A court in Aachen ordered the driver held in police custody pending his handover to authorities in Italy, where he was registered as living.
Okay.
Not sure why a guy's driving around with a bunch of cooked bats underneath unrefrigerated fish.
That would be an interesting story. I wonder if maybe the fish were not refrigerated because he was trying to get somewhere quickly.
Sorry, I had a FaceTime call come in, and it just interrupted everything.
You okay?
Go ahead. What were you saying?
Maybe he was trying to get from point A to point B quickly enough, and that's why the fish weren't refrigerated.
Yeah.
Now, why he would hide cooked bats under the fish, unless there are specially trained bat sniffing dogs and the fish was intended to throw them off,
Makes you feel like he knew that having cooking bats, just killing the bats probably would get him in trouble.
Yep.
All right, news story number 2. Another funeral home discovers woman presumed dead is still alive. another funeral home. So that means that there's been at least one other that this has happened to. So this is out of Miller Place, New York. An 82-year-old woman was pronounced dead at a New York nursing home, but found to be breathing 3 hours later at the funeral home where she had been taken. The woman was pronounced dead at Waters Edge Rehab and Nursing Center at Port Jefferson on Long Island on 11:15 a.m. The woman, whose name was not released, was taken to the O.B. Davis Funeral Home in Miller Place at 1:30 p.m., and she was discovered breathing at 2:09 p.m. The woman was taken to a hospital. No update on her condition was available as of the time of this article. The apparent premature declaration of death occurred days after a continuing care home in Iowa was fined $10,000 over a similar incident. Authorities in Iowa said that a 66-year-old woman was declared dead on January 3rd at the Glen Oaks Alzheimer's Special Care Center in Urbandale, where she was receiving hospice care. The woman was placed in a body bag and taken to the Ankeny Funeral Home and Crematory, where workers found that she was breathing and called 911. She was returned to hospice care, where she died on January 5th. The New York case has been referred to the state attorney general's office for investigation. An email seeking comment was sent to the nursing home, but a person who answered the phone there hung up. Officials at the funeral home told Newsday on Sunday, out of respect for the privacy and confidentiality of the families we are honored to serve, we are not in a position to comment further on this matter. What do you think about that one?
Well, I do know that my wife, at times, when we're asleep, she will wake up for whatever reason, and being concerned that, her moving around or whatever has woken me also, she realizes that it didn't, but then also realizes that I'm not breathing. So she'll reach over and put her hand on my chest, and it turns out that I breathe so shallow when I sleep that it, on casual observation, I mean, the lights are out and just light through the window and whatever. She can't tell necessarily that I'm laying there breathing. So perhaps even more so with old people on hospice, who is like, well, they're definitely seeing the light at the end of that tunnel if they're in hospice. Maybe that's what's happening there. Now, you would think that a trained person would be able to tell someone who is breathing from someone who is not. I would think that's part of the training, because that's kind of an important distinction.
Taking the pulse and all that stuff.
Something. So but I don't know. Maybe in the middle of the night, and it's a what they used to refer to as like a candy striper, or somebody like that that's volunteering or something, and they're not specially trained, and maybe it's kind of icky touching dead people anyway. I could see perhaps, but none of that though is really an excuse for why it should happen, because really it shouldn't.
Chris commented on the live stream, who, me? Podcast again? Never. Probably, definitely.
Oh, so Chris is going to podcast again sometime, huh?
I hope so.
All I see him talking about is wanting to give away his comics just so he can get more boom books.
Yeah. Dude's got, it's like he's got a boom addiction.
Yeah. I don't know.
In case anybody's curious, Chris did a podcast with Ed called Boom Addiction.
Boom Addiction, yeah.
It's never funny when you have to explain the joke.
No,
All right, here's the number one headline. Rough day for man driving stolen school bus with dead deer inside. A man in York County, Pennsylvania, was arrested after allegedly leading officers on two separate vehicle chases in two counties. It all began after Pennsylvania state troopers stopped a BMW with a Florida plate and questioned the driver, Tony Saunders. Local station WGAL reported that troopers said that they could see items in the car Saunders was driving that appeared to be from a nearby convenience store where a theft had been reported. However, Saunders reportedly told police he got the items at a junkyard. There was also reportedly a dog in the vehicle and a dead deer in the trunk. Saunders allegedly drove away when troopers asked him to exit the vehicle and turned off his headlights during the chase to avoid detection. He reportedly had to leave the BMW when he wasn't able to maneuver the car over some railroad tracks. He then allegedly ran into a heavily wooded area. Later that morning, law enforcement agencies were notified that a school bus had been stolen in Abbottstown, according to Carroll Township Police. Carroll Township police officers first spotted the bus at a shopping center parking lot and eventually caught up with it. The driver pulled over briefly, but then pulled away and kept driving. The driver then allegedly led officers on a chase that ended after he abandoned the bus and ran away on foot while stripping off his clothes. Police apprehended and identified the driver as Saunders, who allegedly admitted he had stolen the school bus after crashing the BMW. He also allegedly claimed that he intended to use the dead deer carcass to fertilize his garden. Saunders remains in York County Prison in lieu of a $100,000 bail.
Okay, did he steal the BMW? Probably because it had a Florida plate.
Yeah.
So he stole the BMW, hit up a convenience store, stole some stuff from there, saw a dead deer on the side of the road, more than likely, grabbed it up to put in his trunk because he is poor and was going to eat the deer. That's also why he stole the convenience store things.
Yeah, I would have to assume, because when he abandons the BMW because he crashed it or wrecked it trying to get across the railroad tracks, he then transfers that dead deer from the BMW into the school bus. So unlike
he wanted that deer.
Oh yeah. And it makes you wonder, was the school bus close to where he abandoned it? You know, did he drag this deer through the woods until he found something that he could steal, this, i.e. the school bus? That's
yeah. He almost would have had to, because I doubt they would have just left the car where it was. They would have towed it to an impound. Yeah. He wouldn't have known where that impound lot was, more than likely. So he ditched the Beamer, dragging the deer away somewhere maybe, and then stashed it.
Yeah, came back,
went
with the bus
to look for another vehicle, found the bus, came to where the deer was, loaded it up, tried to take off.
Yeah.
I surmise. I don't know. Those are weird stories.
Yeah. I enjoy weird news stories. Sometimes all I need to see is the headlines, because the headlines by themselves are often just pretty good.
Do you listen to the podcast that Cullen Bunn does with his wife, Cindy?
No.
She, okay, you know Cullen Bunn by name?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Does a podcast. It was much more regular until here. Post-COVID, things have kind of broken down as far as them having the time to do it, but they've released like 1 or 2 episodes in like maybe the last year. So it's still a thing that they want to do, but they just haven't fit it back into the new schedule that post-COVID has for all of us. But one of the segments that Cindy does is weird things in the news.
Fun.
So she does kind of similar headlines, but I think she kind of looks for things that sound even freakier as far as the headline. These are kind of sedate compared to some of the weird things she digs up.
Yeah.
I don't know where it looks, but
I had originally started following that feed because when one of the 9 or 12 times I rebooted the Stephen Orell's podcast, I was doing like a headline for the week.
Okay.
And I wanted it to be not necessarily current events, because stories like this they don't have to be current to enjoy talking about them, right? So
Right.
yeah, you'd put in a Google search for weird news, and you just drop down a rabbit hole.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
There's some fun stuff out there.
Yep. Yeah. Trust me. Working at 911, I've had my personal share with oddness.
I bet my best friend from high school, who I played in a number of bands with, his wife is a dispatcher.
Yeah, that's my day job is I'm the map person for our county's 911. But I also am cross trained to fill in dispatch if they get in a bind. So
Cool. I know she really likes it. She's been there for years and years and years. So
um, she would have to be probably a unique person
yeah,
to really say she likes it. Not that she doesn't like it, but it can
she
be.
she tolerates it enough that she hasn't sought out other.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure that far and away, as far as having a job, the aspects of it are very positive.
yeah,
Um, there's just, those one or two things that you run into as a phone dispatcher that you really don't run into those situations doing most any other kind of job. And they can be the
yeah,
things that start to haunt you over time. So
yeah. I used to one of my um, probably the second. They say back in our grandparents' days, they had one career in their lifetime, and these days folks can count on having an average of five.
okay.
So my second career, I was worked at a call center for the free application for federal student aid. You've ever had
Ooh,
to fill one of those out, the
FAFSA.
FAFSA? Yep.
Yeah.
And
Ooh.
so we would basically our company had this contract with the Department of Education, and the phone number that was on the FAFSA that you could call for questions on how to fill it out, or just to get the school code for the school you wanted, back
Wow. Okay.
20 years ago, when I remember when they started doing the application online, we got a ton of questions there. But the one call that I remember over any of them was a dude who was filling out his FAFSA, and he didn't like the fact that it asked for his social security number.
Okay.
And unfortunately, that's the social security number is required.
Yeah.
It's used to file your FAFSA. That's blah 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 and all this stuff. And he tells me that the problem is he doesn't have a social security number. He did have one, but he hates the American government so much that this is what he claimed, somehow managed to have his name taken off of the Social Security Administration's records, which no, he didn't do that. But
Okay.
the one question I wanted to ask him was, because he's like, I just don't want to have anything to do with the American government ever again, so I had my number taken off the Social Security Administration's records. And I said, well, you're asking the American government for money
Give you money
to go
yeah.
to school. So which is it, buddy?
Yep. You apparently don't hate them enough. So.
Right? Yeah. And then you always get at least once a week, because we would have a lot of parents calling in who were filling out the application for their student.
Okay.
And they had to be able to provide you with like social security number, date of birth of the student before we could give them any information off of that application.
Oh,
because
okay.
we could look up the application and see everything on it. And invariably, at least once a week, more often than not, probably, there was a parent who they didn't have that information in front of them. But God damn it, they wanted that information. It's their information on that thing, I'm sorry, I can't give it to you without that. You're the American government, because they just always assumed that we were a government agency,
right.
And we weren't.
Right.
And so they would always say something like, "You're the American government. You can do whatever you want." And again, I wanted to say, well, if that's true, why are you trying to piss me off?
No doubt.
Because then I can do all kinds of stuff to you if what you're thinking is true.
I could just nuke you from here, sir,
Right.
if that were the case. You know, yeah.
Yeah. And then I think the other thing that always made me laugh about that was, if your student is considered a dependent on their parents, and of course the parents' financial information is
Income.
taken into consideration.
Yep.
And so we would get calls from these parents that would say, well, it says here that I'm not eligible, that my student's not eligible for a Pell Grant.
Right.
It's like, man, that's what we're seeing too. But he didn't make any money. It's like, well, it's based on your income as well. And, it says here that you've got blah, 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 blah.
Right. Yeah.
And two, you own 2 homes and all this stuff. And they're basically like, well, but that's an investment. I don't actually have that money. And I'd have to explain to them, look, the Department of Education, their stance is if you have a home that you can sell to pay for your kid's education, they want you to do that before they're going to give you free money.
That's it.
And it was always the people with a lot of money who would get really upset that they weren't getting any free money.
Now, you bring this up, and it's interesting because my final 2 years of undergraduate work and all 3 years of my graduate work, I worked at financial aid offices for those 2 institutions. The undergraduate, I was more a filer kind of front desk kind of person. But when I was in graduate school working at the financial aid office, this is my graduate work was at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia. And while I was there, they instituted at the financial aid office an 800 number where your entire enrollment process as far as financial aid is concerned, you could call with questions.
Yeah.
I was one of the first 2 people to man that line.
Yep.
Ever. So, they had no idea what the typical questions were going to be, the volume or nothing. It was just 2 students sitting at this big table hooked up with one end of an 800 number.
Yep.
And, even some of the questions, of course, were FAFSA related, but more of the questions were related to specifics for what Marshall required for their scholarships and things like that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It always seemed like the people who took news the worst, as far as the information we saw, were always on the higher end of the income bracket.
Yep.
And it's
because they're used to getting what they want.
I guess, we've got these poor people that we can look and see. Financial aid is the only way they're going to be able to go. Yeah. And we have to give them the lowdown that you're not going to be able to go.
Yeah.
And, the conversation, boo-hoo a little bit sometimes, but that was it. No, the average annual income was 7 and 8 digits. And oh boy, they would raise beef on the phone like nobody's business. Oh, yeah. It's like, dog, I'm sitting here, look, you could get a name on a building at the school. What are you complaining about?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. With that call center, of course, and I think it's probably the same with people from any call center. There's certain questions that you just get all the time.
Oh yeah.
And so, that you go in for the day that you're going to have, they're like the top 10 questions that you're going to get that day. You get them every day. And the number one question that I got was from parents filling out the FAFSA. The first line on the FAFSA, student's last name. Second line on the FAFSA, student's first name. And so the parent they'd get to that, they'd start filling out, they go, call us up. All right, so this says line 1, student's last name. Is that my last name or my son's last name? Is your son the student? Yes, he is. It would be his last name.
You're filling it out for this. Yes. Who's going to get the money?
Right. That's why it says students.
Yeah.
Not parent of student. But yeah. Good times, good times, good
Oh,
times.
yeah.
Now before that, I think I've told you this before. I worked third shift in a factory that manufactured medical tubing.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun too. But it was third shift, and we had literally it was a great big old factory that did all kinds of stuff when it came to medical, not just the tubing, but other various things. But the biggest part of it was the medical tubing. But on third shift, everywhere else in the building was empty. It was just us, and we had like one manager. And eventually, I got to the point where I was on the quality control team, and they only needed one on third shift, and all I had to do was once every hour, I had to go over and like take this little thing and measure. All right, the
Right.
tubing is coming out the same thickness all the way around.
Okay.
You know, test like 10 of them. All right. Then I go to another line and go, okay, these are sealing correctly. And then I just had to sit around and do nothing until the next hour.
Okay.
And actually it was every 2 hours, because they had a guy that ran, they called them the extruders. You pour all the little pieces of plastic or whatever the tubes were made out of, the little, I don't remember even what they're called, just like these little dots.
Right.
That are melted and then
Micro
formed
beads.
into the tubing. Yeah. They had to check so like we had to take turns. 1 hour they would check the tubes. Next hour I would check the tubes. And so yeah, I spent a lot of time in the extruder operator's office reading a book.
Okay. Well,
that was a good job. The only reason I left that job is because they closed up and moved it to Mexico.
Okay. So, where they could pay people far less than what they were paying you for that good job.
Yeah. But you know, shouldn't have been paying me to sit around and read a book.
Well, you know,
I did maybe really, it seemed like a really weird thing, because my job description had me literally working maybe 30 minutes the entire night.
Okay.
Why would they do that?
Some requirement somewhere else that they can say they're doing it, check.
Yeah, it's like some medical safety requirement or something. Yeah.
Whatever, yeah. FDACMPQRL requirement.
We had to wear hairnets.
Okay.
I didn't have a beard back then, but if you had a beard, you had to wear a beard net.
Okay.
Yeah. What's some of your crazier jobs?
Actually, I haven't had a high volume of them. Most of the ones I've had, I just stuck around until I found something better. I was a what do you call it when you sell stuff on the phone?
Telemarketer.
Yes, I did telemarket. I sold. Now, most people nowadays would find this hard to believe, but I sold over the phone additional phone service for phone lines. Okay.
Yeah.
Now these are those hard to figure out things like answering machines that were online, distinctive ringing. That was a good one. Call forwarding. You know, all of these concepts that like are part of a chip in these.
Yep.
I mean, it's not. But that was right when I first got into telemarketing. That was one of the things, and it was for one of the baby bells. Southern Bell or one of them. I forget which one it was. And you know, it's funny, those features, you never hear anybody talk about having them now, because they're so ubiquitous on the phone that it's like, well, I don't even think about that. If I'm not at the office, I just send those calls to my cell phone, and that's called call forwarding. Okay. So
it's crazy when you think about that kind of stuff, because I mean, for example, you used to have to pay for long distance.
Oh yeah. Big money.
Yeah.
My first cell phone, the best time to make a long distance call was during the week, because on Friday and Saturday nights, it went up. It got more
the
expensive
rates
to
went
make
up.
long
Yep.
distance calls then.
Yep.
So if you were going to do one, you would do it on Tuesday night or Wednesday, something like that. Yeah. I mean, now, no, I just pick up the phone and call. I don't know where it is.
Right.
I don't care.
You don't even think about it. It's not even something that back then you had to think about that. Okay, is this a local call or is it out of town?
Right.
God forbid
it's
God forbid it's overseas.
International.
Yeah. Calling Canada, you're just like, no, I'll write them a letter, know? And then with the first cell phones, of course, you had to pay 25 cents for every text, not just the ones that you sent, but the ones you received. So you'd get pissed off if somebody sent you a text.
Yep.
And nowadays it's like, why are you calling me? Text me.
Yeah, really. Just text me. Just text me.
Do you remember when the phone companies split apart?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Did you ever have pagers?
I did.
Okay.
And the first half of the 90s, when I was in the band Larry, our first year as a band, we played, I think our bass player, he used to keep record of it. We played like 290 shows in 1 year.
Wow.
And it was getting to a point where, because the bass player, he's the guy that booked all the shows. He would get a call from a club and, hey, can you guys play a show tonight? And so he'd have to try to figure out, nowadays you just pick up your, and but back in the 90s, early 90s, you just couldn't reach out to somebody like that. So we all went in and got pagers.
Okay.
So that he could page us. Hey, we're 911. We're playing a show tonight,
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you remember when the little pagers that just had like 8 or 10 numbers went to the big pagers that were alphanumeric both, and you could actually send words.
Yeah.
They got like, the pagers got like 3 times the size. And okay.
Yeah. It's a weird world.
Weird world. Steps towards, what we have now, from nothing basically to the kind of things this does.
Yeah. From
yeah.
I like seeing the videos online where you'll see these videos where someone, like a Gen X or someone of our age will put a rotary phone in front of their kid and go, show me how to call somebody on this. Show me how to disconnect the call. And they're like, there's not a, trying to figure out how to disconnect
an off like button or
I saw a video where a kid goes into his mom and she's just like, what's wrong? And he's holding a tape cassette and it's in its plastic case. And he goes, how do you open this? He couldn't figure out how to get it open.
Funny. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's memes of stuff like that go up on Facebook all the time. I'm always a fan of the people will never know the difficulty or whatever, and the picture will have a cassette tape and a pencil.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, we remember those.
Oh yeah. That was just, I don't want to be one of those guys that's like, well, it was so much better back in our day, but there was just something about sitting down with a stack of tapes or CDs and your tape deck, your double tape deck.
Yep.
Your home stereo was like different components, and you would spend all day putting together a mixtape that you might listen to maybe 3 times.
Yes.
And then throw in a box and make a new mixtape, because it was mostly just about listening to the music, and that was almost kind of a good excuse to sit around and listen to the music, was to put together a mixtape.
Well, plus 2, whatever your motivation for making that mixtape that day was gone the next day.
Yep.
So that's why, you might listen to it 2 or 3 more times, but you needed a new one, because now the mixtape that you want is a different mixtape from what that one was.
Yep. Yep.
And so, the double player, so that you could play and record on you push both buttons down at the same. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, and then before that, I distinctly remember being in grade school, and a song that I would hear on the radio, because when you about that time you were at this age where, you know, it's like I'm really into music and I want to listen to music, but I'm not old enough to have a job and I don't have a car, so I can't go buy records or tapes. I have to depend on my parents for that. So I distinctly remember the song "Everybody Wants Some." No, "Everybody Wants You" by Billy Squier.
Okay.
We had a show on the radio in the evening that would play like the top 10 popular songs, and that song was on there for like 3 nights in a row. So like the 4th night, I got a tape and I put it in the tape deck.
To
I hit
tape it.
record and pause and just waited for them to, oh, I got the song. But you always had the DJ at the beginning and the DJ at the end. But you'd have tapes with songs like that on there.
Yep, just the ones you wanted to hear. You didn't have to go through the rest of the list, the rest of the hour, you know, whatever it was you were listening to. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I also remember in I believe it was 1986 when the first Poison album came out, Look What the Cat Dragged In, because I had seen the video for Talk Dirty to Me on Headbangers Ball on MTV, and I was hooked. You know, I was I was into hair metal just big time back then. And but I would have been, I don't think I was 15. I might have been 15. I know I wasn't driving. And so my mom was going into Walmart one day, and so I went along with her because I had money. I was going to go buy that Poison tape. So we get in the station wagon, we drive, and we go in, and immediately she gives me the keys because I'm just going to go buy the tape and get back out in the station wagon and listen to it. So I get the tape and I go out the station wagon. She's finishing shopping, and I'm looking at the tape cassette, and the song that I was really the most excited about, "Talk Dirty to Me," which is the one I saw on MTV, was the first song on side 2. So I'm like, oh crap, I gotta flip it. And my mom's station wagon, the tape deck in it only had play and fast forward. So I had to put it on side 1 and just sit there and let it fast forward through the entire side, take it out, flip it over. I mean, I remember when they added the feature to a tape deck where it would flip it over for you.
Yes.
You know, that was like, oh my God, it's flipping the tape for you, you know?
Yep.
You just didn't take that crap for granted now. My kids were asked, one of my kids was asking me a few months back about MTV, because I think I was watching music videos on YouTube. I have certain playlists, and she was like, so explain MTV to me. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? She says, well, I mean, if you wanted, was there like, could you see what time the different songs were on? No. It was like the radio, but on TV. You had, if you wanted to watch a certain video, you had to sit in front of that TV and hope they played that video at some point during the day.
Yeah, but you had no idea if they would. I mean,
yeah. She's really hard for her to grasp that concept.
Well, and you know that's kind of something that, well, isn't that the kind of thing that parents typically strive for their children, is for the kids to not have it as difficult as we did. And so, you know, we parents always seem to be in favor of certain kind of advances, because we remember when we were kids, if we'd had that technology, oh, it would have been so cool. So we want our kids to be able to have that technology, whatever it would be. Yeah. So that's,
it's like on the one hand, I'm just so thrilled that they are able to watch or listen to whatever they want to. It's right there. They don't have to work hard to get it. But on the other hand, it's like you almost appreciate it just a little bit more when you have to work for it.
You don't know what it's like waiting for that top movie to get to the television so you can watch it.
Yeah. And my daughter's just right over here in the next room. She's going to hear me talking about her, but she just recently got her first job.
Cool. Okay.
And she had to work Sunday night, and she's really into Bob's Burgers. It's her favorite show in the world.
And I'm assuming it's on Sunday nights.
It's on Sunday nights. We watch it through YouTube TV. So we watch it live when it's broadcast.
Right.
Well, she couldn't watch it the other night because it wasn't what I think she was home, but something about YouTube TV wasn't working, and so she was just so bummed. No, I can't watch it. And my wife was like, "Yeah, that sucks." And then my wife kind of went, "But you can watch it tomorrow on Hulu." When I was a kid, if I missed a show, I had to hope it was going to come back
Yeah.
through a rerun over the summer or in syndication.
Yeah. No doubt.
You just got to wait till tomorrow.
If you even
Yeah,
have to wait, depending on what
yeah,
it is, it
yeah,
may immediately go to the playback
yeah,
section, Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, catching a TV show now that was,
yeah,
because our seasons ran like they do now, 20 to 25 week seasons. They began and ended, and then if you missed episode 8, um, when the show started rerunning, who knows? They would rerun episodes all over the place. They wouldn't do a
yeah.
season. You, yeah,
Or if they'd go on like a mid-season break, like they do, and then during the mid-season break, they move the schedule so it's no longer playing on Sundays at 7. It's on Wednesdays at 8, and you don't know.
right. Yeah, yeah,
There were shows that I thought just disappeared and didn't realize they were just on a different night because I was
yep.
watching something else.
They had 6 more seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yep. So speaking of TV,
Okay.
where are you at in regard to the Star Wars shows that are on Disney Plus?
Um, okay, we haven't started season 3 of The Mandalorian yet, and we are about halfway through Andor,
Hmm.
because the Mandalorian holdup is just because we just haven't sat down to watch it. We have
Yeah.
Disney Plus, so
Hmm.
we could watch it first comes on. We can go back and watch. Doesn't matter. Um, just life. Andor, though, is really trying for me.
Yeah.
I do not enjoy watching Andor. So the only reason that we're going to finish the season is because I want to sit down and watch it, not because I
Yeah.
enjoy it, because I didn't. I thought
Yeah.
that, everybody extolling. I'm like, no, that is like one of the Dudleyest shows I have ever seen. It's
I
just flat
loved
for me.
Andor, man. That
Oh,
last
I just
episode is you
phew. No. Now Boba
loved it.
Fett and the Mandalorian, I can eat those
Yeah.
all the time. I don't have an
Yeah.
excuse for not being caught up.
They
Um,
are a bit more fun. They're like, it
yes.
they're like playing with your action figures on TV and love them.
Well, they are a much lighter drama
Yeah.
than what
Oh yeah.
Andor is.
Yeah.
Andor is,
It's heavy.
yeah, it's almost like Shakespeare kind of
Yeah.
heavy compared to those other shows,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's where we are.
I'm all caught up on I think all the Star Wars stuff. I even got
Yeah.
caught up on the Bad Batch
Okay, yeah,
over
we
the
haven't
weekend.
watched
So
any animated shows there. So,
yeah, I think we talked about this between episodes on when we were recording for the Superman Super Show, but the the animated stuff, specifically the CGI stuff that Dave Filoni, the Clone Wars,
mhm.
Rebels, and then the Bad Batch. it's it took me forever to watch Clone Wars because the first thing you have on Clone Wars is they call it the movie because it's basically like 4 episodes, I think, and they put them all together and they released it in the theater before they put the show on TV.
Okay.
It's horrible. It's terrible. It's crap. It's got this freaking cousin of Jabba the Hutt in it who speaks in this weird southern accent. It's just, oh my god, it's horrible. Ahsoka Tano, that's the first time she appears. She's the most annoying character who calls Anakin Skywalker Sky Guy. It's like, all right, this is not my show. And
Right.
I think it was near the end of the whole show that somebody talked me into sitting down and watching it, and I'm really glad I did. It's as you get into it, it gets so much better.
Mhm.
And then the Bad Batch is really good. And when the new season of that started, it's my mind is always like, I'll get to it when I get to it. It's animated. It's not, it's not that great. But then when I watch them, I'm like, holy crap, these are so good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're animated. So there's always going to be something that's just not as good because,
Well, yeah.
but still, they're pretty fun. The Bad Batch is set like almost immediately after Return of the Jedi. So
Okay.
it's like you can kind of watch the Bad Batch with something like Andor to see
Okay.
like the Empire coming together but the Bad Batch focuses mostly on what happens to the clones after the Empire becomes a thing. So
Okay.
it's pretty neat because if you're not aware, the Bad Batch are like 4 clones who came out bad. There's something wrong with them. Like one guy is like really strong. They didn't come out exactly like the other clones, so
Right.
they're kind of almost considered failures.
They're
So
mutants.
yeah,
Mutant
so they put them
clones.
on their own team, and the
Okay.
other clones refer to them jokingly as the Bad Batch because they didn't come out right. So
Okay.
it's kind of fun. Really looking forward to Ahsoka though, which
Okay.
is crazy because again, the first time I saw her on anything, I hated her. But the more you watch Clone Wars, the better a character she becomes as she gets older. Because she's like 13 or something when Clone Wars starts, and so
Right.
she's an annoying teenager. But as she grows up on the show, it gets so much better. And I think the live action version of Ahsoka looks really good. And there's references to the Thrawn trilogy, which is why I'm listening to the books now to get caught up on those. I'm on the third Thrawn book.
Well, originally, those were not going to be new canon, I think, but now they are accepted canon. So,
Well, they're part of the
or
once
the
Disney bought Star Wars, all that stuff was like, nope, it's not canon. If it says Legends, it's
yeah,
not canon.
legends.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
and that was
Well,
one of them, which
I
is really
thought now though that it has been accepted because Thrawn has been used in things.
no. They have
Okay,
taken stuff from them like Grand Admiral Thrawn and put him in main continuity, but it's like it would be like a multiverse version of
okay,
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
okay.
And so it is kind of weird listening to these books because I read them when they first came out, and it was like you watch Return of the Jedi, and that's those 3 Star Wars movies, other than that holiday special that was on TV. That's
Right,
about all you got. And then these
right,
books came out, and they were so good. It's just continuation of the Star Wars stuff, but now they're no longer in canon. So you listen to some of the stuff that they talk about, and it's like that is such a cool concept. I wish they would bring that back
right. Yeah.
into the universe. And some of it they, like I said, some of it they have, and some of it they haven't. So it's pretty neat. How about the Marvel stuff? Where are you behind on any of
Um,
that stuff?
the only thing at this point that we haven't watched yet is the Vision Scarlet Witch. We've watched everything else.
Wow, that's like the first thing in that phase. Why'd you skip it?
Mhm. Um, because I want to watch Marvel superheroes. I don't want to watch
Yeah,
Marvel domesticity, wanting to have kids and living in, Happy Town, New Jersey. I, th- I live
yeah.
that. Why
No,
do I
I
want to
get it.
watch that on TV?
I get it.
It's
Yeah, I think that's why they put the first 2 episodes up at the same time when they first released it because each episode is kind of based tailored on a certain era of TV.
mhm,
So it's like episode 1 is Leave It to Beaver, and then episode 2 is the Mary Tyler Moore or not the Mary Tyler Moore show, the one that the Andy Grip. No, what's the one that Mary Tyler Moore was in?
well, she was the newspaper person,
No, the one
Ed
before that.
Asner.
The
Um,
she was the wife, Laura Petrie. I can't even think of the guy's name. The main guy, the guy that was in the show. The show's named after him. He works on the. He was a writer on a TV show. That was his job. And the intro the theme song intro had him coming into the house and tripping over the ottoman.
Dick Van Dyke.
Yes, the Dick Van Dyke Show. Yes,
Dick Van Dyke Show. Okay.
So, I mean, if you watch, for example, you watch the first episode and it's like, oh, okay, it's like a sitcom based off of, the Leave It to Beaver, or actually more like I Love Lucy than Leave It to Beaver. And then you watch the second episode and it's like, oh, okay, that was pretty good too. It's not until it really starts, because when they really start moving it forward and introducing all the mystery and why is it so weird, and then there is some superhero stuff near the end of
it.
And,
and to be honest, the only reason that it's in my mind to even go back and watch that is because that's how what's her face in the Marvels got her powers, was because what happened to her in that show. And so, not that I wouldn't be able to watch that movie not knowing that, but the fact that the one connects so directly to the other, it's like, well, we've watched all the movies and we might as well see this stream of story too. So I just, okay. And I know I have said this before, virtually everywhere in anything I've ever done that uses either my fingers to type or my voice. I use comic books to escape. And the closer that is, the closer a comic book or a comic book property is to real life, the less interested in it I'm going to be. I have one of those. That is what I want to escape by wanting to escape. So it's, I don't want to see, well, what would it be like if so-and-so didn't have his powers? Well, he'd be a normal person, and that's me. I'm a pretty normal person. I've got that down. I know what that's about. No, it doesn't interest me.
Well, I'll just say this. When you do finally watch WandaVision, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, because on the surface, that is kind of what it looks like. It's supposed to be Wanda and Vision move into the suburbs. They have a family, and it's just, but it's like, but right away, it's like you scratch that surface and there's all this creepy, weird stuff underneath. And there's, like I said, there's a big mystery I think I'm not telling you go out and watch it now. I just think when eventually you do, I think you're gonna enjoy it.
Thanks for the affirmation, Billy. I appreciate it. I already want to watch it a little bit too, because I need to see where Wanda turned evil, because I've already seen the second Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what.
She just pops up out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, wow, big change. So something,
Yeah, I'm really happy for that Doctor Strange movie, because
I could see Billy shaking his fist.
Get off the lawn,
you kids!
Because the way WandaVision ends, it's like, wait a minute, she did some bad stuff in that, and she's just like walking away, like she's getting away with it. If you listen to any of my WandaVision episodes at the end that I did for Just Another Fanboy, I'm really upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what kind of lesson are they trying to teach us here? But then when we get to Doctor Strange, I was not expecting her to be the villain of the piece. Not expecting, despite what happened in WandaVision. I mean, when they did that, I was like, of course, yes, that makes sense. That helps me reconcile how WandaVision ended. But
now I will say that.
Have you seen Ms. Marvel then?
Yes.
Love that one. That was a good one. Are you did you like the trailer for Marvels? The teaser trailer?
I liked most of it.
Yeah.
Also because of I think probably age preferences. That giggly junior high-ish kind of character always annoys the piss out of me.
Yeah.
Because that is always the foil for the dumb things that happen, to the extent that were it me, that person would probably get a backhand way early and just like, you almost got us, no, really killed. You almost got us killed. That's not funny.
Yeah.
No,
I get that. And I think
So
there are times when I see characters like that if they're, you can have a character like that if they're done right, I can tolerate them. But if they're not done right, the whole time I'm just like, somebody just needs to smack this person in the face because they're effing everything up.
Yes, that's
but
so.
With Kamala Khan, I think in the trailer, that teaser trailer, I think the one thing about that for me, points out one of the things that I really love about her is the beginning of that teaser when it's Monica Rambeau in the spacesuit, and she's out there checking something out, and then the thing happens and she swaps places with Kamala Khan, and she's just freaking out because suddenly she's in this spacesuit in space and she's screaming, and then she turns around and she sees Nick Fury and she just turns into a fangirl. It's like she just forgets the danger she's in, and she's just like, oh my God, you're Nick Fury.
Yeah,
cracks me
and
up.
I don't know and it's funny to think about that kind of movie being there being something in that movie because, or there being something in that type of movie that takes me out of it because I don't find it believable, which is amusing because it's like, but wait, the whole thing is not believable. I mean, so
right,
there's this just tremendous irony that goes through my head. I'm like, what do you mean you can't believe that you can believe that the dude turns green but you can't believe it's like
that? And I think that
sorry.
all comes down to the actor or the actress.
Okay.
So I think for you, when it comes to Kamala Khan, you probably just don't enjoy the way the actress is portraying her. An example I would use for that is, did you ever watch the Arrow TV show?
Up until the final couple seasons, I lost my taste for it, but most of it.
I have never been able to get into that show. I've tried 3 times. I do not like the guy who plays Oliver Queen. I have seen him in other stuff, and I have enjoyed him in other stuff.
Okay.
But
wow,
just do not buy him as Oliver Queen at all. And I can't get past that.
Right.
I just can't. So why, so I get it.
Yeah,
I do.
Just one of those things. You're like,
it's like, no,
I've tried. Doesn't work for me.
I tried. Plus, his mansion in that first episode, it's Lex Luthor's mansion from Smallville.
There are a lot of now I have found that to be the case though in a lot of CW shows.
Oh yeah.
The CW show that was easiest for me to swallow was honestly Black Lightning.
Yeah, I want to watch that one.
That one I really didn't have any problems with. I have no idea, but I don't know.
I haven't been able to get it. I couldn't get into Arrow, couldn't get into Flash. I just haven't been able to get into any of them.
Right.
I've heard that Stargirl is really good, but I tried to watch. I thought, all right, well, I'll tell you what, I'll watch the Crisis on Infinite Earths thing, and I just couldn't get into it. It's, I don't know, just couldn't get into them. To me, they felt like TV.
Yes.
Whereas, I've gotten used to watching the stuff that they are putting on the streaming services that feel like movies on your TV.
Right. It's
and
grander.
The CW stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably 10, 15 years ago, I'd probably be totally into that CW stuff, but.
And I think a large portion of that also is age related.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
There are those people that are our age they are better able to suspend the fact that they're 50, 60 years old
when
they're being entertained.
Yep.
sometimes I can, most of the time I can't. I carry my age with me, and I just can't get away from it. And I think the CW shows are really geared for, not strictly, but they're geared to draw a younger audience. And
Yeah.
I'm always noticing those things, and it
Yep.
takes me out of whatever's happening. And so
Well, the big thing that I noticed with the Flash that kind of freaked me out is I tried out that first episode and I'm like,
mm,
well, hold on a minute, Barry Allen's older than me, right? He's
mm,
been older than me my entire life. Why is he
right,
this young kid? And just never have noticed that with a lot of the other characters that their age didn't seem to factor in, but for some reason the guy that plays Barry Allen just I can totally tell that he's way younger than me, and
it
I'm
didn't work.
that nah, he's older than me. Barry Allen's always been older than me.
Yeah,
But they put somebody older than me playing him now. That's not going to work.
right.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. That won't
So
be it either. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, Billy there's talking. He liked Smallville at first, but then it went off the rails. Or as us older people say, jumped the shark, which I remember watching that episode, by the way. That night, I watched
yeah,
that
yeah.
episode live. So I have always understood that reference. And he said, followed up, my wife and I watched it together as I love the comic book angles and she enjoyed the teen drama. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
hey, that's cool. Both of you got something out of it, and both of
yeah.
you were able to enjoy it. So that's cool.
I was really into Smallville. I don't think I ever finished it, but I distinctly remember that first episode and just the scene when the asteroids, the meteor hit the Earth, and the Arthur or I saw his comment about Billy D's comment about Arthur
Arthur
Fonzarelli in it,
Fonzarelli, yes.
but when
Jumping the shark.
Jonathan and Martha are in the truck and it flips over on its top, and then little baby Clark Kent comes over, and little baby Kal-El, he looks into the cab of the truck, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's Superman. It really worked for me. And then it really got kind of crazy there. And then plus now we learned that that actress that played Chloe was in a weird sex cult. So
Yeah, she was. Yeah. Oh. Now, okay, you bring that up. Artist and art are two different things for me.
yes,
One doesn't, unless I want it to. One doesn't affect my ability to uh, enjoy the other, because especially now, if you watch or read or whatever something now, after somebody has just done all kinds of stupid stuff and they're in jail or what, they don't see a penny of what you're doing.
no,
They never benefit from the fact that you are enjoying their art in that comic book, their writing in on that TV show. So it's like,
yeah,
now if if you are the kind of person that always want to be on the right side of the argument, okay, then go ahead and say, oh well, no, I can't do that because 35 years ago it's like 35 years ago. Okay, fine, yeah. But yeah, there's and
no,
in
I'm the
comic
same way.
books that
Yeah,
comes up quite a bit.
yeah, I'm typically the same way. There's, it's well, for example, I've been rewatching The Mandalorian, and what's her name who plays Cara Dune,
Yeah,
she got
okay.
booted off the show for
She
saying something problematic on
she
the
had some
social media, and
right
I'm
leaning
not
ideas.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and I'm not having any problems watching the episode that she's in.
you know,
In fact, part of me's like, why did she have to go and do that? Because she's kind of awesome
she
in the
yeah,
show,
this was so
you
cool.
know. But
Yeah,
I do, because there are certain actors whose name rhymes with John Bruce that I just can't stand to even look at, and I just won't watch any of their movies anymore.
okay, yeah.
And but yeah, normally that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. But
You know, one of the last, well, they've taken a break, but from the 2000s, let's say, one of the most profound, phenomenal writers Warren Ellis.
Yeah.
His the stuff that he wrote for comic books was just, out of this world. And, no, I don't want to date him. I would prefer that none of the females in my family have anything to do with the man, you know. Um, and I enjoy reading his, so I don't feel bad about that.
Yeah, he's one that if I already own some of his stuff, I'll read it, but I'm not gonna spend any money on anything that might get him any kind of royalty.
Well, okay. Now, see, you go to a comic book store and you buy a trade paperback of his stuff. He's not going to see a penny of that.
Yeah, he's already gotten paid for that.
Yeah. So now on the digital services, he may still make money off of that. I don't know how that's set up, but yeah. Go to your local comic book shop and buy the back issues.
Yeah, it's like there are certain people that I kind of draw. There are certain lines that I just won't.
Okay.
I guess won't cross, and there are some that. Well, for example, my wife, whenever I'm watching a movie or a TV show, she come in and go, "Oh, don't watch that. That she's a Scientologist," and it's like that doesn't bother me. It does her. She won't.
Okay. That's
typically
fair.
watch anything. Yeah, but that's her line, right?
Yep. There you go.
Mine's I guess a little different.
So you can't watch Kirstie Alley stuff.
Oh, I can. She won't.
Right. Oh, she won't. She won't watch John Travolta stuff.
Right.
Oh, wow, what a miss. She won't watch Tom Cruise stuff.
No, but I won't either because regardless, Scientology or not, I just don't like him anymore.
You don't like Tom Cruise? Oh, no. Your wife doesn't like Tom Cruise either? Okay.
I used to. Far and Away used to be one of my favorite movies, and now I just can't even stand to look at the dude anymore. It's just yeah.
I guess
so no, I haven't seen I haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, and I probably never will. And I've never seen Mission I watched Mission Impossible 1. I haven't seen anything since. So
did you not like it?
I just don't like him. Well, I didn't hate him back then. And I just never got a chance to see Mission Impossible 2. And then he just turned into one of these guys that I just didn't like anymore. So I just have no desire to see anything that he's in anymore. Okay. Even Far and Away, which used to be one of my favorite movies.
Right. Okay.
But I just want to punch his face.
Plant that flag on that hill. That's fine.
Yeah. What else are you watching? Is there anything
we watch a lot of sports here in the house. Actually, tonight, I think while we've been recording this, instead of listening to us like my wife normally would, she's been watching the NCAA women's gymnastics finals from this past weekend because we were out of town. She wasn't able to watch it. Big women's college, not college, but women's gymnastics fan. A lot of HGTV and cooking channel stuff. I haven't really been wanting to come home after work and focus on a TV show. I've been reading Dragonlance Forgotten Realms novels or comic books. So we'll put on a home improvement show or a cooking competition show that, we can go in and out of focusing on. And, that's usually what's on the TV. Actually, we've been meaning to sit down and get through our DVD movie stack that we have. We haven't really seen any genre movies since Batman came out.
You did what? You have seen the new Batman?
Not yet, but
you haven't watched it. Okay,
it's the first one on the stack. So everything after that we haven't seen as far as DVD releases. We haven't been to the movies in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
So I watch and keep up with and just make a list. We need to get this DVD. Need to get that one.
Well, it's like when, because I can totally be the same way, where it's even working from home, my day is done, turn off the computer, and it's like I don't really feel like getting into a TV show right now, or even watching a full movie. I just, so yeah, I'll sit and read comics. And we were gonna go see the second Avatar movie in the theaters, but we just never did. And then
Okay,
I
yeah.
got it digitally when it released digitally, so we own it on Apple TV, but we've yet to watch it
Still haven't watched it.
because,
Okay.
yeah, because it's one thing when it's like trying to get yourself motivated to do certain things, but then
But
trying to then
two people.
pair that up with somebody else,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
So
Billy D. Yes, and the concept of that movie intrigues me to no end. The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. Do you know what The Last Voyage of the Demeter is? Movie aside,
It sounds familiar, but no, tell me.
it is the boat that Dracula used in the
Oh,
novel. Okay, and this movie is about that voyage.
I did watch half of that trailer, and I don't remember why I didn't
Oh,
finish it. I
okay.
got distracted or something.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. There are several things here we didn't talk about. What do you say here? I don't let those things bother me too much. Yeah, there are some artist actors that I have difference with, but it really depends on the specific. Yeah, and I'm sure there are people who would do something in my mind egregious enough that I would just totally write them off.
Yeah.
And if I sat and thought about it, there probably are artists that I have done so thoroughly that they don't even come to mind unless I really try to sit down and think of who I avoid. You know.
Yeah.
Never is it a political thing. No, politics for me never plays in, and boy is that good because right now there is nothing but politics. I mean,
Yeah. And
everywhere.
with me, it's like sometimes yes and sometimes no. And I will never begrudge anybody. If there's like a certain creator or something that I just will never read I'm not going to read their comics. I just found out that they're comics gate person or something. You know, I'm never going to begrudge anybody else while reading their stuff. It's a choice that each person has to make. If you want to read their stuff, that's
It's
fine.
it's
Nothing wrong
interesting
with
you
that.
bring that up because every time he comes out with something, I buy what Ethan Van Sciver puts out
Yeah.
because his art I think is just awesome. Um,
Yeah.
Billy Tucci is the same way. Now, I think
Really.
people would be a lot more forgiving of Billy Tucci, even though he a lot of times is sitting right next to Ethan Van Sciver ideologically, but he seems to get a pass for some reason. I don't know, but Billy Tucci's
Maybe
art
he's just
is awesome.
maybe he's
I
just
just
not as vocal about it. I don't know if that
could,
I've ever heard his name come up in those circles.
yeah, yeah. So that kind of stuff, I'm like, whatever. There may be people that it's like, well, I wouldn't vote for them. I
No.
don't want my sister dating them, but as far as buying their books, whatever. And
Yeah.
now this comes from someone who has grown up, excuse me, and spent his entire life as both identifying conservative and identifying Christian, which right now, both of those are bashed every which way you look. And so I'm used to the fact that people probably don't agree with everything that I see. They don't see the same way I see. And so I extend that to most people as well. It's like, okay, unless you're going to come up on my porch and be shouting at my door, I don't care.
Yep.
Whatever. You can do it, but honestly, just to be safe, do it over there. That's
Yeah.
fine.
And
I'm not, so
here's the thing. The fact of the matter is, you know, you bring up uh, Christian, for example.
mhm.
For a lot of people, and frankly, I'm one of them, that you hear that and there's a part of you that automatically goes, but I know that in many cases it's always the loudest people that end up kind of defining
Mhm.
how certain groups are perceived.
Yes.
Now, I don't know. I know that there is a song that we did back in my Larry days where I took a clip from a movie and put it at the beginning of it. I can't remember what the movie was. It was a Civil War movie, and I don't remember what it was. But I remember there are two guys in it were discussing the whole slavery thing, and the one guy says, and this is the part I took out and put in the beginning of the song was, never judge a race. Any man who judges by the group is a peewit. You take men one at a time, and that's kind of how I feel about
Okay.
things. You know.
Yep. Well, and I was going to say there are those people that want to say Christian, where they're all, but they will rebuke somebody if they say, well, all gay people, well, all black people. Well, and it's
Yeah.
like, but you're doing the exact same thing. You can't possibly believe that all whatever are the same, are going to treat you the same. I mean, come on. That is just, Billy D
I
here
just
brings up Billy Tucci is a veteran. Yeah, that probably goes a long way, Billy, as far as why people like Billy. It's certainly something I appreciate about the man for sure. And yeah, you're right. Every interaction I have ever heard about Billy Tucci has always been positive. I have never heard somebody had a bad experience meeting the man. So I don't know. Maybe people who have actually met Ethan Van Sciver are the same way. Yes, I have seen some of his interactions via video, and they are pretty rough on both sides. But that's on video. People are a lot braver on video than they will be standing nose to nose. So things
yeah.
happen that would never happen in person. So,
But
just
but yeah, like I said, I've never personally heard Billy Tucci's name
no,
in
ever.
that context. So, I'm very much innocent until proven guilty kind of person. When I meet somebody new or hear about somebody new or talk about somebody new that I don't know anything about, my assumption is always that the person is a good person until I learn otherwise.
Right.
And if somebody's going to go on the internet and get on a video and spew a lot of hate, for me, regardless of whether it's easier for them to do it on video than to do it to somebody face to face, it's still they obviously mean it. It's still what they believe in. They believe in that hate, so
they took the time to do it regardless.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got you. I'm still going to buy Cyberfrog, but you're not, and that's that's absolutely cool.
That's what you do. You vote with your wallet.
That's it. Okay, back to the last voyage of the Demeter. Yeah, that that looks freaking awesome. I just saw it maybe this past weekend. I think for the trailer for the first time. I don't know if it just dropped but yeah, it looks really it looks really good.
I'm typically not a vampire guy. I'm not sure why.
What?
There are certain vampire stuff that I will enjoy. The Blade movies, for example, except for the third one. I enjoy the Blade movies.
I like parts of it.
Yeah. I think when it comes to like the whole gothic, I guess I'm not a gothic type of person when it comes to, I think it's less vampire, more, the gothic
I was going to ask
if
you had read any of the Vampire Lestat books.
I actually have. I listened to the one where he is a rock star.
Isn't that gothic? I mean,
oh yeah,
Louis
I don't
been
care
around since 1800.
Yeah, I don't care for Interview with a Vampire. I don't care for it. And frankly, I think for me, because I don't like that kind of stuff, I think Anne Rice is the one that slightly ruined vampires for me, because that became so popular. That and Bram Stoker's Dracula, the
Yes.
the Gary Oldman version. I love
Yes.
Gary Oldman.
Oh,
You know, that became what vampires were for a long time.
sure.
And
Yeah.
so when something kind of stepped out of that, uh, for example, Cassidy from Preacher, that's a
Right.
vampire I can get behind, you know. But
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely not in that mold, but yeah, for
and
sure.
I've even written Norman, Oklahoma stories that I've never put out there that have vampires in them. So I guess I got nothing against them. I'm just not. I guess I'm not into that
You don't
gothic emo.
you don't like Anne Rice. Okay. Wow.
Eh,
Yeah, that's a lot of vampire novels that you're scratching off your list there.
yeah,
And
I
she's
don't. I don't like. I don't like gothic emo vampires, and I don't like glitter vampires either.
okay. Yeah, now the vampires can keep their diaries to themselves. Yeah, that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah,
Um,
I had a buddy, a guy I worked with. We sat right next to each other. I come into work one day, and he's got the first. Um, what are those glitter vampire movies that
Vampire
were based on
Diaries.
books? No, it's the other one with the Bella and
Oh, let's see. Bella Swan. Twilight.
yes, Twilight. He had
Twilight.
the first Twilight movie on DVD on his desk, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And he goes, "Oh, you should watch it. It's pretty good." And I'm like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, give it a chance." And he handed it to me, and I took it home. And the next day, I come back and I said, "This sucked," and he just started laughing. He goes, "I know, I was just messing with you."
Okay.
So yeah,
How about Sookie Stackhouse? Did you watch her show when it was on HBO?
I have no idea what that is.
Uh, s- that's the main female character, and the Southern Vampire. Let me see. The Southern Vampire Mysteries is the name of the series, but it was by Charlene Harris.
Yeah,
And the HBO TV show was called something else. It had like
yeah,
True Blood. It
yeah.
had
Didn't
like
watch
5 or 6 seasons on HBO. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, nine
Um,
times out of 10, if it's a vampire show, I'm just gonna not watch it because I'm gonna assume
oh,
it's gonna suck.
Steven,
You know? I
goodness,
know, I
wow!
know. I've
You
always been
you're
a
just
werewolf guy.
you're a big lumper, man. You're just lumping all these
I
things
know,
together. It's
I
not.
know, I know.
Now, I will say, Billy D says he's not a big fan of Anne Rice, but Hammer now, and yeah, I think uh, being a vampire, a Hammer horror fan is,
Yeah.
I think that's an appropriate thing. Yeah, Hammer.
You know,
Um,
I kind of liked Dusk Till Dawn. I thought
yes.
the Robert Rodriguez half got a
Okay.
little kind of overly strange at one point, but that was a fun movie.
Did you watch
It's
that
just
TV series?
I started it. I never finished it, but I
Two
enjoyed
seasons.
what I
Okay.
watched. Yeah, it's just the whole, like I said, the Anne Rice. Oh, I've been alive forever, and I'm so sad about
Okay.
it. You know,
Okay.
I just don't. I can't get into that kind of stuff.
That's perfectly acceptable. There were plenty of people that did like Anne
Oh
Rice, so
yeah, oh yeah. In
they
fact,
they made up for it.
did you ever watch Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
Yes.
I read the book before they'd even announced that there was a movie because I
Okay.
went, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, that sounds awesome. And when you read the introduction, the author basically said the because the author was the same guy that wrote, I'm pretty sure he's the same guy that did Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which
Yeah. Yeah. He did.
I didn't read, but he said the reason he came up with Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is because he said for like months, every time he'd go in a bookstore, the books that were always right up front, there was like some big uh, anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's death, or it was that year that it was a big anniversary, and so it was either an Abraham Lincoln biography and then an Anne Rice vampire book, and so he
Okay. That's
started
the
going,
second.
let's put
Let's
these
put that.
together.
Okay. Yep.
So
Pride and
I
Prejudice
enjoyed
and
those.
Zombies.
Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. Yeah.
right? That was the other one that he wrote.
Yeah.
So that brings to mind Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Have it? No? Okay.
No.
I read that too. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Not a big fan. The trailer looks very opposite of the modern vampire to me. For the Hammer vampires, Billy.
Which trailer you talking about, Billy?
So yeah, as far
Wait
as
the 10 minutes for the lag
yeah,
for him
the
to
lag
answer.
in voice and the lag in typing,
Yeah.
and so yeah, not much modern caught up TV in the past, probably for most of this year so far, really.
Demeter.
Demeter. Oh yeah, going way back there. Yeah, oh absolutely, because I mean, I would hope that that's what they would do, being on a big passenger whaling vessel in the 1800s or 1700s, 1800s, I think is when that happened. So
Yeah.
I would hope that they tried to make it a period kind of thing. So yeah, nice and
Yeah, they're
dark
not playing
and
any rock and roll music in it. That always drives me crazy. If you watch a Western and then there's like squealing guitars
well,
in it.
what was what was the Night movie that had contemporary music in it?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It had the Joker in it.
Yeah.
A Knight's Tale.
Knight's Tale, yeah.
Yeah, I really like that movie.
It's a fun movie,
Just
but
despite
sometimes
the
the
music.
guitars take me out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. The boys
But
are
then
back
you
in
got
town as they're riding into London. It's like,
yeah.
okay, it's
But nowadays though, because of movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, that's like the thing now is to, look at the freaking trailer for that Dungeons and Dragons movie that has that Led Zeppelin song in it.
yeah.
It's like every trailer for that I would see it has that Led Zeppelin song in it. And it's like, I want to see it, but
What I equate that to is them holding up the sign for the demographic that they're trying to get to watch the movie.
yeah.
80s tunes on a mixtape. That is me.
Yeah.
I lived it. I did it. That's who they want to go watch the movie, which I did. So it's like, yeah, that's, the
I've heard
kids
good
are like,
things.
that's a stupid song. What is it? Never mind. It's not for you.
Yeah.
Just move on. It's all right.
I've heard good things about that Dungeons and Dragons movie.
I have too. I'm a little confused by the fact that all the characters are thieves. That's not very Dungeons and Dragony.
No, you usually have you got to have one thief, a paladin,
it's a
wizard.
party.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. So yeah, I'm interested to see it.
Yeah.
No sparkles, no lovey-dovey nonsense. Oh yeah, and the Demeter movie? No, none of that. Very much a where the hell is that thing going to jump out next kind of movie. That's yeah.
See, I don't like that kind of stuff either. I don't like to be scared.
Well, don't be scared. Just know that it's going to happen.
I like movies that creep me out, that scare me more on this is gonna come up in my nightmares for the next few nights.
Okay.
But the jump scare stuff, I don't.
And maybe it doesn't have much jump scare.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
but it looks creepy.
The flash of lightning and he's there, and the flash of lightning and he's gone. And I mean,
it did look a bit nightmare inducing.
Okay.
Like I said, I only saw half of that trailer, but it wasn't because I was like, oh, I don't want to watch this. Somebody came and said, hey, can you help me with this or something? I don't remember what it was, and I just never went back to it. But I don't remember watching that first half of the trailer going, this is not for me. But
go back and watch it again.
Yeah, because I've got that vampire bias. It's like vampire. All right, you're gonna have to work hard to get me to even give this movie a chance.
Think of it as the filler.
Bye, Billy.
All right, Billy. Bye, man. The filler for the Dracula novel. Did you read Dracula while you were still able to? No.
No.
Okay.
No, I've never didn't read Dracula. I didn't read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. A lot of classic books. Unless they required it in high school.
Right.
Didn't read the first time I sat down and read a classic was Catcher in the Rye, because my best friend in high school, Paul, just loved that book. Just loved it. And I read it and I just went, I don't get it, you know? And so it burned me. So I haven't.
Yeah,
We have a couple back here on the shelf that I keep meaning to read, but just haven't.
we'll get to it, man. The Dracula novel was required reading in my junior high until I was in the year, which I believe was ninth grade, that you normally read it. And some poor student was having nightmares. And so mommy and daddy came up and complained, and they pulled the book, and we weren't able to finish it.
That's too bad. That's
So
crap. That's crap.
I finished it on my own, but yeah.
It's like, okay, you don't want your kid reading it? Fine. Don't let your kid read it. Don't tell us that,
Don't take my choice to read it away from me.
Exactly.
You can exercise your choice. And so many things today, that's the way I look at it. If you don't want to, then don't. But don't take my ability to choose whether or not I want to away from me. That's the issue that I have with a lot of things. Let me decide.
Yeah.
And that's me standing on my lawn, shaking my fist. Let me decide.
It's the hill on your lawn.
That big ass flag shaped like me. Yeah.
I have recently been rewatching Schitt's Creek. Have you?
I've heard of it. Never watched it.
It's pretty funny. Other than that, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm caught up. I look forward to Wednesday because it's a new Mandalorian and a new Ted Lasso.
Okay.
However, tomorrow I think is the season finale of Mandalorian.
Wow,
which
already?
is
Dude.
Yeah, which is going to make me sad, but can't wait for it because last week's episode was so good. I think Ted Lasso still has a few weeks left, though. I think it's like a 12 episode season or something. But and then I don't know. That's why I like when these streaming services do the weekly shows instead of dropping it all at once, because then I got something to look forward to. And then we got Ahsoka coming in August.
Well, doesn't that give you the chance to go back and watch something that you haven't watched and just fit it in that slot? I mean, just
I've been contemplating an entire Star Wars rewatch.
Okay.
But two things have kind of stalled me on that. One is, the completist in me feels like, all right, well, if you're going to do a Star Wars rewatch, you got to start with chronologically the first one, and that's Phantom Menace. And if it's on, I will watch it and I'll have fun with those prequel movies. But I've seen them 30, 40 times, but a lot of times I can't. It's something good to have on in the background while I'm reading comics.
Right. You're not going to search it out to watch it specifically.
Yeah. And then the second thing that's kind of stopped me is because it's like, all right, so I'm going to watch all this stuff chronologically, and it's not like the Marvel Cinematic Universe where every movie is technically, with the exception of a couple, chronologically is the next step. Whereas with the Star Wars, this one's told between these movies, this one's told between these movies. And so it's like, all right, so if I watch it chronologically, I'll get done. I can watch Attack of the Clones and then the Revenge of the Sith. And then between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, there's like Andor.
Right.
But Andor's not done. So I'll have to go back and do it all over again when that's done.
The later seasons as they come out. Yeah.
Oh, one of my earbuds just died, so the other one's probably about to go.
Getting ready to. Okay.
So, yeah. It was fun.
Yep.
I figured the game would last maybe half hour, and then look at that, we still stretch it out for.
So why is this perhaps going to be the last thing or the only thing?
Because I've been contemplating the whole idea of doing this over on Stephen or Else instead, basically.
Oh, okay.
This is kind of like a pilot test drive to see if I want to do that. And I don't know if I will, because then I would have to try to schedule time with guests, and that
Sure.
becomes a whole thing. So I don't know that it's hard enough for me to maintain a weekly podcast by myself without
Right.
having to take breaks every now and then. But
Right.
adding something like that in. But that's all. It's just that I thought I'd use this as kind of a test to see how I felt, how it went, and then if I wanted to move forward with something like this, I could. And I can anyway. I don't have to do it every week. I don't have to do it every month.
No.
Do whatever the hell I feel like it, right?
Yep.
But,
And it doesn't have to be 2 hours. It doesn't have to be 1 hour. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
One topic. Somebody, hey, can you? How about Wednesday at 7? Yeah, okay. Well, talk about this. Okay, talk about it for 45 minutes and put it up. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know when I will take the audio from this. Your audio and my audio, put it together, make an episode.
Okay.
I don't know. I may put it all together, and then when I'm ready to start doing more episodes of Just Another Fanboy, that'll be the first one that comes out. I'll be an episode already in the can.
There you go. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm my second week of not making any podcasts except for Superman Super Show, and I'm okay with it. So
Which we don't have on the schedule, do we? Or do we?
Well, it should have been this week. So
well, yeah, but it
we'll
was.
do it.
Yeah, we did this.
Not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. That's going to be what?
So this is 1825 second, May 2.
Yeah,
May
2.
the 2nd be with, or no, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Sorry. Okay.
All right. Well, those of you watching the video, thank you for hanging out with us. Like and comment, smash that bell, whatever all those YouTubers say.
Leave a comment below.
Over here, it's over here, it's over here. I don't know where it's at. So, all right, I'm going to end the broadcast. Broadcast is ending, I think.